Hi, welcome to Amber's Garden Corner. I'm Amber. Today I'm just going to show you how I go about prepping one of my res beds. My bed here. I will be pulling out that Swiss chard, weeding it. There are a couple of garlics coming up in there that will be staying in there. But other than that, well, as you can see, the bed is pretty much, I cleaned out the bigger things. I still have less the Swiss chard that I've been feeding to the chicken. I will pulling that out and feeding the rest of that to the chickens, and go ahead and weed that. And the only thing that will be in this bed when I'm done will be a couple garlics that are coming up and onion. So I'm going to go ahead and weed that, and we'll come back to it. Okay, welcome back. So I've got most of the weeds out of here. I've given it a light turning with the spade just to see what's going on. So let me tell you how this bed started. So of course I lined up my cinder blocks and put a thick coating of cardboard down. Okay, so this was actually my winter compost bed. So I put chicken bedding in and kitchen waste and paper and lots of composting material in this bed, and this composted over winter. Then I took some of my native soil from where the shop was excavated out, wheelbarrowed it up, and brought it over here and top dressed it, and planted my garden last year in it. So at this point, you can see everything is very, very well composted. And I'll just show you a little bit. So you can see it's very composted in here. And there's still a lot of sand, which is good because you want sand for your drainage. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go over to my compost pile and get some compost from over there and slip that in there. Okay, I've got some compost in there, and I've got some aged manure, and I'm going to go ahead and spread that around on the garden and mix that in with the existing composted soil that's in there. Okay, now I've got that spread out, mixed in, and mounded around my garlic and a couple of the onions that I have in there. And now I'm going to come over to one of my other beds that are more established. Now I'm going to dig through this oregano right there, and I'm going to find some likely oregano starts to bring that over. One of the reasons why I use oregano as a lot of my herbs and stuff and as my ground cover in my beds is it keeps it going, it keeps everything going. It also it repels pests and helps with that. And I keep refreshing the herbs as it goes, so if I do end up totally digging out one of the herbs out of the pot and maybe moving it somewhere else or what have you, I've still got plenty of rotational of herbs so for my garden and cooking and everything else like that. But so what I'm looking for is right around the edge of the plant. Right about. So what I'm looking for is around the edge of the plant. Sorry. Around the edge of the plant, there'll be leaves that have stems that have fallen over and they've mixed with the ground. And you can see these roots. So I'm going to go ahead and dig up a couple of these, and then I'll show you what I'll be transplanting to make new oregano plants. Okay, I found some likely suspects. So, digging around in my oregano plant, I've pulled up a couple branches, and if you can see on it, it has little leaves. See if I can find a better example. And this one was nice. It has a very good leaf system with a nice sprig coming up. So, let's see if I can show you how to plant this once you've pulled up your nice starts. So, like, this was a really good one, and if you can see, and if you just dig around the edge of your plants, you'll find where they've fallen over and they've started rooting. So if you're careful and you pull them out, and then you can replant these. Okay. So what I want to do with this oregano is I want to plant it, of course, but I'm going to disperse it throughout my garden. Hopefully you can see this. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to go ahead and plant all of those little roots. Just like that. Pretty simple. Yeah, like this one here. This one here. It's kind of long. I have the all one. So what I'm going to do is I will just fold it in like this. And I will put it in the ground with this out, and the spot where I want, and that will spread and take over that spot. And I would rather have my herbs as a weed in my garden than a weed. Okay, well, I've got the oregano dispersed in a couple places throughout the garden, and I planted it over in my covered garden over there as well, a couple bundles. I hadn't really planted any in this yet because I had composted in both of these beds very heavily. That way I saved the cost of having to put soil in that or wheelbarrowing it all the way up the hill one by one by one. Only so many wheelbarrow loads up in me. So my soil level, of course, dropped down this winter again, but that's to be expected, especially when you're starting your beds and you're composting it at first. You know, your soil levels are going to drop down. But it's just about to the level where I want, and I've got this soil loose enough and everything that if I do decide to put yet more material in this, these oreganos will be well established and the soil's loose enough I'll be able to easily dig them out, move them, and then put more compost in the top of the bed through it for winter and such, and replant them, and they'll be okay, and they'll be a little more established too as plants. So now I'm just going to give this a nice thorough watering, and I'll leave this for a little bit. It's not time to plant this bed. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please make sure you subscribe so you can follow along in any future videos. And make sure you hit the like button. Do a lot of work trying to do this and do all the work. And leave a comment. We love to hear from you. Thanks for watching. Have an awesome day.